Elias Varin walked along the narrow metal walkway of Outpost Epsilon 9. The outpost hung like a lonely shard of steel above the dead remains of a star that had once burned bright. The light it gave was weak and pale, barely enough to warm the bones, and yet Elias had learned to endure it. For 10 years he had watched the sky, kept the machines running, and kept himself awake against the cold, both outside and inside. The night was long and empty. The outpost's hum of machinery was the only sound, broken occasionally by the wind whipping across the orbital structures. Humans had built these stations on the edges of explored space, far from civilization, to observe, to protect, and to learn. But the farther they went, the colder it became, not just the temperature, but the loneliness. Elias knew this well. He paused at the edge of the walkway, looking down at the blackness below. The dying star's light glinted off the hull of the station and cast long shadows. Beyond it, the vast expanse of space stretched, cold and silent, unyielding. He wrapped his coat tighter, the thermal lining barely keeping the chill at bay. 10 years. 10 years of isolation. 10 years of doing the same routine. Then he heard it. A whisper. One night. That's all I ask. Elias froze, his breath puffing in the air like small clouds of smoke. The voice was soft, almost melodic, yet it carried a weight that pressed on him. He turned slowly, scanning the walkway. The outpost should have been empty at this hour. Crew members were all below decks, in the warm sections of the station, asleep or tending to logs. And yet, there she was. Sayla stood in the shadows near the docking bay. Her tall frame moved like liquid metal, alien but familiar in a way Elias could not describe. Her skin had the faint shimmer of starlight, and her eyes glowed softly in the dim light. For a moment, he remembered the first time he had seen her. Stranded, on this outpost far from her people, her species had once been warriors proud and unyielding. They had called humans fragile and weak, destined to burn out quickly. Yet here she was, surviving among them, silent for years, carrying the cold like it was her own armor. Sayla, Elias said cautiously. What do you mean? She did, not answer immediately. Her gaze stayed on the distant star, its weak light reflecting in her eyes. I have lived too long among cold machines and colder hearts, she said finally. 10 years. I have survived, yes, but warmth. I have not felt warmth in 10 years. Elias's heart tightened. He had seen her keep to herself, avoid the humans except when necessary, her expression always distant, her body tense. No one knew the real reason. She had refused to speak of her past or her family. The crew respected her privacy, or perhaps feared it. Humans had not been kind to her kind before, and she had learned to survive by being quiet. And you think I can give it? He asked, though his voice was uncertain. Perhaps, she whispered. Her tone was fragile, like a leaf caught in a storm. Just one night, that is all I ask. One night to feel human warmth, to see how it feels, even for a short while. Elias did not move. He felt a strange mix of fear and hope. Humans were resilient, yes, but warmth? Could humans give something so simple yet so rare to an alien? He wanted to ask more questions, to understand the depth of her request. But something, in her eyes, stopped him. There was pain, yes, but also something deeper. Longing. He remembered the stories the old crew members told when he first arrived. Sayla's people were proud, fierce, and loyal. They fought wars across galaxies, bending others to their will with strength and strategy. But after their defeat, those who survived became scattered, ashamed, and vulnerable. Sayla had been one of the few to reach this far outpost, and she had endured a decade of cold, both outside and in her heart. Elias took a deep breath. All right, he said finally. One night. But you have to let me understand what you want. We are different, you and I can't promise that we will understand each other completely. But I can try. Sayla's eyes softened, the faintest trace of a smile appearing on her face. That is all I ask. Just one night. The cold wind blew past them, but something shifted in the air. It was a small, almost imperceptible warmth, not from the dying star or the station's heaters, but from the fact that for the first time in years, the alien before him had asked, not demanded, not commanded, but asked. Elias turned and walked toward the docking bay. Then we start with the basics. Human warmth comes from stories, from laughter, from food, from sitting together and talking. It's simple, but it matters. Selah followed silently, her long strides echoing on the metal floor. She had seen empires rise and fall, technologies evolve, and wars rage across the stars. Yet tonight, for the first time in 10 years, she felt something unfamiliar. Anticipation. Elias led her to the common area of the station, the warmest room in the outpost. The lights were dim, and the hum of machinery softened to a gentle background. He offered her a seat, one of the few chairs designed for human comfort. She hesitated but then accepted, placing her hands delicately on the table. "You see," Elias said, "humans have a way of surviving not just through strength, but through connection. You have endured, yes. But tonight you will see another side of resilience, a side you might not have known." Selah looked at him, studying his face as though reading the story of a life entirely different from her own. She nodded slowly, and for the first time she allowed herself a small spark of hope. Outside, the dying star continued to cast its weak silver light. The outpost was still cold, and the void beyond remained silent. But inside, something had begun, a warmth that was fragile yet real. For one night, the long decade of cold might finally be broken. And in the quiet, Elias felt it too, the stirrings of a bond that might bridge the gap between human and alien, cold and warmth, survival and life. The warmth of the common room was small but comforting, a faint contrast to the cold metal and the empty void outside. Elias moved around the table, checking the supplies and machinery while Selah sat quietly, her long fingers brushing the surface. She did not speak immediately. Her eyes were fixed on the faint glow of the dying star through the observation window, as if looking for something beyond the visible horizon. Elias finally sat opposite her. "You've been here 10 years, he said softly. 10 years of cold nights, and you've said nothing to anyone. Why now?" Selah's gaze shifted to him, sharp yet distant. "Because," she said, her voice low, "I have lived among humans, and yet remained apart. I have watched your kind with curiosity, with caution, and with envy. You feel things my people have long forgotten. Hope, joy, warmth. Even in the coldest place, you find fire inside yourselves. I want to see it. Just once." Elias leaned back, studying her. Her words were strange, almost poetic, but they carried a weight he could feel. Humans had endured wars, disease, and hardship across the centuries. Their strength was not always in weapons or machines, but in persistence, in spirit, in the bonds that tied them together. Selah had recognized this. "Warmth," Elias repeated, tasting the word. "It's more than temperature, it's connection, it's trust, laughter, stories, simple things we often take for granted. Do you understand that?" Selah paused, considering. "I do not fully understand," she admitted, "but I have felt the absence of it. For 10 years I have known only survival. Machines keep me alive. Humans keep me safe. But warmth, it is missing. I want to know it before I am no more." Elias's heart ached at her words. Here was a being who had conquered star systems, whose people had been feared across galaxies, yet she now admitted vulnerability in the simplest human need. Warmth, not power. Not weapons, just warmth. "You are ill, aren't you?" he asked gently. He had suspected this for years. Selah's alien biology was adapted to different suns, different environments. This star, weak and dying, could not provide what her body needed. She was slowly failing. She nodded, her shoulders stiffening. I am. My body weakens. My energy fades. Yet I endure because I must. Because I have no other choice. And yet... Her voice trailed off, the weight of a decade of loneliness pressing in. Elias reached out, placing his hand on hers across the table. The touch was strange to both of them, human and alien, yet it carried an unspoken message. Acknowledgement, understanding, connection. You will have your one night, he said. I will do everything I can to show you warmth, but you must trust me. You must let yourself feel it, even if it is unfamiliar, even if it is fleeting. Selah studied him, the faintest shimmer of emotion in her alien eyes. I will try, she whispered. It is difficult to imagine. My people, when alive, celebrated victory and power. Emotion was controlled, stored, measured. But humans feel deeply, and they endure. Perhaps that is the reason your kind persists where mine has fallen. Elias smiled faintly. That's exactly it. We are not the strongest, not the fastest, not the smartest, but we endure. We find hope in the smallest things. That is our fire. That is what you will see tonight. They moved through the outpost together, gathering what they could. Elias showed her the simple comforts of human life. Warm food heated in the small galley, blankets pulled close against the chill, and stories written in logs from previous crews. He explained the tradition of human celebration, sharing tales of hardship and triumph, singing songs that expressed joy and sorrow, laughing at simple jokes. Selah watched silently, absorbing every detail. The idea of warmth, of connection, was foreign yet tantalizing. The fire in the containment unit glowed warmly, its orange light dancing across the metal walls of the common room. Outside, the dying star offered little warmth, but inside, Elias and Selah felt the small comfort of life's simple pleasures. For the first time in 10 years, Selah's shoulders relaxed slightly. The tension that had been constant in her body, like frozen steel, softened. Elias had spent the day preparing. He arranged the common room with small tokens of human warmth, soft blankets, a few lights that hummed gently instead of blinking with alarms, and simple food that his crew would have considered ordinary. But to Selah, it was something entirely new. Sit, Elias said, motioning to a chair near the fire. You will not need to move much tonight. The fire is enough for now. The warmth comes not just from heat, but from being together, from feeling alive. Selah obeyed, her alien frame lowering onto the chair with careful grace. She had always moved with precision, every motion purposeful, every step deliberate, but tonight she was learning to be patient, to exist without immediate action, to simply be present. Elias sat opposite her, holding a small cup filled with a hot beverage. This is called tea, he explained. Humans drink it for comfort, to calm themselves, to feel connected to others. Taste it slowly. Selah took the cup, its warmth seeping through her fingers. She sipped carefully. The taste was strange at first, bitter and sweet at the same time, but it spread warmth through her chest. A sensation she had almost forgotten existed. Her eyes widened slightly. This is not unpleasant, she admitted, almost in disbelief. It is comforting. Elias smiled. That is the fire I spoke of. Small, yes, but it grows when shared. It lives in the simplest things, a cup of tea, a story, a song, a laugh. It is human fire. It is endurance, hope, and connection, all in one. Selah studied him, her glowing eyes reflecting the firelight. I have fought wars across galaxies, she said softly. I have seen planets crumble, stars die, civilizations fall. I have relied on strength, strategy, and discipline, yet none of it brought this warmth. Perhaps humans survive not because they conquer, but because they care, because they endure together. Elias nodded. Exactly. And tonight, you will see more. You will experience human connection. You will hear stories, see joy, and understand that survival is not only about strength, but about spirit. He motioned to a small console, and the old station speakers came to life. A soft melody filled the room, a human song, simple and melodic. It was not alien music, not the harmonics of Sayla's people, but it was warm, inviting, and full of emotion. Sayla tilted her head, listening closely. Each note seemed to reach something deep inside her, awakening memories of emotions she had buried long ago. Music. Humans express feeling through it, Elias explained. Through rhythm and sound you share hope, sorrow, happiness. It connects people. Sayla closed her eyes, letting the notes wash over her. She remembered the cold silence of the last decade, the emptiness of her days. And now, for the first time, she felt a pulse of life she had almost forgotten. It was fragile, delicate, yet undeniable. Elias spoke again, softly. Stories are next. Humans tell stories to pass knowledge, to inspire, to share experience. Every life matters, every choice matters. We endure because we learn from each other. He began recounting a tale of the first human colony on a distant planet where settlers faced storms, famine, and isolation. They survived not because they had the strongest machines or the deadliest weapons, but because they worked together, cared for one another, and found hope in small victories. Sayla listened intently. She had known civilizations that thrived through power, that crushed enemies without mercy. But humans endured through spirit, through connection. She felt something unfamiliar, a longing, not for conquest or victory, but for companionship, for belonging. Elias paused, looking at her carefully. You asked for one night, he said. I cannot give you a decade of warmth, nor a lifetime, but I can give you this moment. And in it, you will find fire. The kind that survives the cold, that survives loss, that survives even the darkest nights of space. Sayla's voice was quiet, almost a whisper. It is overwhelming. I did not realize warmth could exist like this. My people, our victories, our power, they never provided this. Perhaps this is why humans endure. Elias nodded. Yes, and it is not magic, Sayla. It is choice. Humans choose to endure. They choose to connect. They choose hope, even when the universe is cold and indifferent. A faint smile appeared on Sayla's lips, rare and fragile. For the first time, she felt a glimmer of peace. The fire inside humans, as she had observed from afar for 10 years, was now touching her. She did not fully understand it, nor did she know if she would ever feel it as fully as a human could. But she felt it. The night stretched on. Elias told more stories, shared more songs, offered small bites of food, and sipped tea. Sayla participated, slowly opening herself to the experience. She laughed quietly at moments, a sound so alien yet so genuine that Elias felt hope stir in his chest. Outside, the dying star's light continued to fade. The cold vacuum of space pressed against the station, indifferent to life within. Yet, inside the common room, warmth had taken root. Not from machines, not from energy fields, but from something far rarer. Connection. Sayla's eyes glowed softly in the firelight. For 10 years, she had known only survival, discipline, and silence. But tonight she was learning the human way of endurance, the way that survived not just with strength but with heart. You have given me fire, she said quietly, her voice trembling with emotion. Not just warmth, but fire inside. I do not fully understand it, but I will remember it. Even if it is only one night, it is enough. Elias smiled, feeling a quiet pride. That is all anyone can ask for, Sayla. One night can be enough to remind us what we fight for, what we live for, and why we endure. The night continued, quiet, gentle, and alive. Two beings from different worlds shared a simple truth. Warmth is not only about heat, It is about life, connection, and choice. And for the first time in 10 years, Selah understood a piece of humanity's enduring fire. Outside, the universe remained cold, dark, and vast. But inside, the fire and the cold burned brighter than any star. The warmth of the common room lingered as night stretched on, but outside, the cold void of space remained indifferent. Selah had begun to feel something she had not allowed herself to feel for a decade: trust. She had shared laughter, listened to human stories, and sipped warmth from a simple cup of tea. Yet even as the moment grew precious, a shadow of the past stirred beyond the station. The hum of the station's sensors shifted abruptly. Elias frowned, standing from his seat. "That's not normal," he muttered. The screen displayed a blip approaching rapidly, an alien vessel, sleek and menacing, moving with purpose toward Outpost Epsilon 9. Selah's eyes narrowed, her calm demeanor replaced with a sharp edge. "They found me," she said. Her voice, though controlled, carried a subtle tremor. "My people, my kin, they will not forgive me for living among humans." Elias felt a chill despite the fire. "Do they mean to harm us?" he asked, already moving toward the control console. The alien vessel's intent was clear: aggression, authority, and reclamation. "They mean to take me," Selah said, rising with fluid motion. "To force me back, to demand loyalty I no longer owe. I could fight, yes, but their strength, their numbers." She trailed off, shaking her head. Elias placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "We face them together. You have seen our endurance tonight. You have felt human fire. That fire does not fade, even against overwhelming odds." The sensors continued to display the alien vessel's approach. It did not hesitate. It did not slow. It was as if the years of her isolation, the decade of survival, had all led to this confrontation. Selah's mind raced through memories of her past. Battles fought on distant worlds, allies lost, and the strict code of her people. She had been a warrior, trained to obey and conquer, yet now she faced a choice she had never imagined: fight for herself, or retreat to her people's authority. She had tasted human warmth, and she could not unlearn it. The vessel's weapons, systems activated. Lights blinked red on the console. Elias, calm under pressure, calculated their options. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and vulnerable, but not without hope. Humans had a way of turning weakness into advantage: ingenuity, creativity, connection. He glanced at Selah, seeing that she understood. "They cannot break you," Elias said quietly. "And together, we may yet stand." Selah nodded. She activated her own systems, the alien technology integrated with the station's human machines. She was a bridge, alien strength guided by human ingenuity. Her eyes glowed brighter as her determination solidified. The alien vessel transmitted a demand in a harsh, commanding tone. "Return now, Selah. You are property of your people. You will obey. Failure to comply will be met with destruction." Selah stepped forward, her voice clear and unyielding. "I am not yours to command. I have chosen a different path. I have lived among humans, and I will not return to the shadow of your orders." The tension was electric. Elias stood beside, her feeling the bond that had begun just hours ago. They were different, yet united by choice. Selah's past and human endurance collided in the room, and together they formed a wall neither alien nor human alone could sustain. Elias spoke into the console, his voice steady. "They will not leave, we can—" The alien vessel had retreated, but its presence lingered like a shadow over Outpost Epsilon 9. Elias and Selah stood in the common room, the glow of the fire in the containment unit flickering softly between them. Outside, the void remained, cold and silent, yet the threat had not passed. They both knew the vessel could return, stronger and more determined. Selah's eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the firelight. "They will not give up easily," she said. "They will return with more ships, more weapons. They will expect me to obey." Elias nodded, his jaw tight. "Then we show them why humans endure. Not because we are the strongest, but because we are clever, because we trust each other, because we have fire inside. Tonight, that fire will burn bright. Sayla moved to the console, her alien fingers working with human precision. She integrated her own advanced systems with the outpost's technology, creating a network of defenses that even the returning vessel would find hard to predict. She had seen fleets fall before, but this time, she was not alone. The night deepened, and the first warning blips appeared on the sensors. The alien vessel had returned, larger and more menacing. It fired a pulse at the station, shaking the metal floors and sending sparks from the outer hull. The containment fire flickered violently, but Elias remained calm. "Stay with me," he said to Sayla. "We fight together." Sayla nodded, her alien instincts alert. For 10 years, she had relied on strength and strategy alone. Now she combined that with human ingenuity, creativity, and courage. It was a strange harmony, alien and human, working as one. The first strike from the vessel was deflected by the outpost's shields, but the force was enough to cause cracks. Elias activated the station's auxiliary power, rerouting energy to reinforce weak points. He coordinated traps using the dying star's unstable radiation, simple human engineering with a creative twist. Sayla's hands moved quickly across her console. "I can amplify the shield pulses and redirect the energy blasts," she said, "but it will take precise timing. One wrong move." Her voice trailed off, but Elias understood. Failure meant destruction. "Then we get it right," he said, firmly. Together. The alien vessel pressed closer, firing relentlessly. Elias and Sayla's combined strategy forced the attackers into traps. Channels of energy from the station's reactors created false corridors, confusing the vessel's targeting systems. Automated drones moved in coordinated patterns, striking at vulnerable points. Every move was calculated, every action relying on trust and ingenuity. Sayla realized something profound in the midst of battle. The warmth she had sought, the human fire, was not merely comfort, it was courage. It was defiance against overwhelming odds. It was hope that refused to die, even when the universe seemed indifferent. Elias noticed the change in her. "You see it now," he said. "This is what warmth means. Not just feeling safe, but standing firm, even when fear is real." Sayla's eyes glowed brighter. "I understand. This fire. Humans endure because they fight not just with strength, but with heart." The alien vessel fired a concentrated beam, hitting one of the station's outer hull segments. Sparks flew, alarms blared, but Elias and Sayla's coordinated defense held. Sayla deployed a counterpulse, redirecting the energy back toward the vessel. The attackers faltered, unable to predict the human-alien strategy. "You are learning. Quickly," Elias said, a faint grin appearing on his face. "And so am I. This is what humans can do when they combine fire with ingenuity." The battle raged on, and yet something remarkable happened. Sayla began to smile faintly amidst the tension. The first genuine expression of joy she had allowed herself in 10 years. She realized that fight and warmth were not opposites. They could coexist. Courage could come from comfort, and strength could grow from connection. The alien vessel's attacks became desperate. It attempted to board the station, but the combined defenses and traps delayed them. Drones intercepted boarding pods, and automated turrets disabled key systems on the intruding ship. Every time the aliens tried to adapt, Elias and Sayla adapted faster. Finally, a concentrated strike from the station's energy grid, amplified by Sayla's alien technology, disabled the vessel's propulsion. It floated, powerless, in the void, its systems crippled. The alien crew transmitted another message, this time pleading, demanding, but powerless to enforce it. Sayla's glowing eyes met Elias's. "We have won this round," she said quietly. Elias nodded, though he did not relax. "We have. But the universe will always test us. Tonight, though, we showed what humans and those who share their fire can do." The adrenaline faded, replaced by exhaustion and relief. Sayla sank into a chair near the containment fire, letting the warmth seep into her alien body. She felt it in a new way now, stronger, deeper. It was not just heat from fire or machines, it was the fire inside humans, and now inside her. "You have given me more than I asked," she whispered. "One night, yes, but in truth you gave me courage, connection, fire." Elias sat beside her, placing a hand gently over hers. That is what humans can give. Not just comfort, but hope. Not just warmth, but courage. That is why we endure. Sayla's shoulders relaxed, her body finally letting go of tension built over a decade. She had survived wars, isolation, and exile. She had endured 10 years of cold nights, both outside and in her heart, and now for the first time she understood what warmth truly meant. Outside, the dying star continued to cast its weak, silver light, indifferent to the struggles of those orbiting it. The alien vessel drifted in the void, crippled, but alive, a reminder that threats would always return. But inside the outpost, warmth persisted. Human warmth, courage, connection, fire. Sayla looked at Elias, her expression calm but full of unspoken understanding. "I will not forget tonight. I have survived 10 years. Yes, but tonight I learned to live." Elias smiled. "That is all anyone can ask for, Sayla. Survival is not enough. Life is what we make of the moments we share, the bonds we build, and the fire we choose to carry." For the first time in 10 years, Sayla felt complete, not through strength or conquest, but through connection and choice. The night of defiance had shown her the depth of human endurance, the warmth that lived in hearts and minds even in the coldest reaches of space. The night continued, quiet now, the storm of battle passed, yet the fire inside remained. A flame, unbroken, shared between human and alien. In the silence, Elias and Sayla sat together, two beings from different worlds, united by courage, warmth, and the simple truth. Even in the coldest night, fire can burn. The battle was over. The alien vessel had drifted into the void, powerless and defeated, leaving Outpost Epsilon 9 standing battered but alive. The containment fire flickered gently, filling the common room with its soft orange glow. Outside, the dying star cast, pale light over the station, indifferent to the struggles of those who orbited it. Sayla sat near the fire, her alien form tense yet calm, the glow of the flames reflected in her eyes, revealing exhaustion that went beyond the physical. The fight had taken much from her body. Her alien biology, already fragile in this weak star system, had suffered under the strain. Her breathing was slower, deliberate, each inhale a conscious effort. Elias knelt beside her, placing a steady hand on her arm. "You've done more than anyone could ask," he said quietly. "You stood with humans against overwhelming odds. You've shown courage that matches your strength." Sayla's glowing eyes met his, softening. "It is not strength alone that matters," she said. "It is connection, trust, courage shared, not demanded. Tonight, you have given me more than one night. You have given me fire." Elias smiled, though his heart ached at the toll the battle had taken. Fire does not burn out easily. Even in the coldest night, it survives. That is why humans endure. That is why warmth matters. Sayla's breathing grew slower still. She lifted a hand to touch the small flame of the containment fire. "I can feel it, the warmth inside, not from heat alone, but from you, from humans. I have lived 10 years in the cold, and tonight, I have known warmth." Her voice trembled, slightly as if each word cost her effort. Elias held her gaze, steadying her with quiet reassurance. "You've earned it, and it is yours to carry even after tonight. The fire inside you does not die with the body. It lives in memory, in spirit, in those who remember. Selah's lips curved into a faint, fragile smile. I wish I had known this before, she whispered. Perhaps my people would not have fallen if they had understood what humans endure. Elias shook his head gently. Perhaps, but tonight is about you, not them. Tonight, you are here, and you have seen what warmth means. The room was quiet, save for the soft hum of the station and the gentle flicker of the fire. Selah's energy was fading, each breath slower than the last. Her alien physiology, accustomed to distant suns and powerful systems, could not survive long in this weak star's orbit. Yet there was peace in her gaze, an acceptance of the moment, a life measured not in victories or wars but in connection and understanding. She reached for Elias's hand, placing it over hers. You gave me something my people never could. Not power, not victory, fire, connection, hope. Her voice was faint now, but steady enough to convey meaning. Elias squeezed her hand gently. And you have shown that fire is stronger than strength alone. That is the gift of humanity, Selah. We endure because we care. We survive because we hope. And we fight, not just for life, but for warmth, for bonance.